But anyway, Justin Chan, welcome. I'm so glad we're finally speaking. I know we chatted offline quite a bit. If you're into worship guitar, you've surely seen Justin's videos. He has quite a successful YouTube channel, and it's called All About Worship Guitar. And I think coming and just talking to Justin, right? He knows his stuff. He knows stuff about the secret Helix settings that probably only two guys at Helix knows. So he's like he nerds out on this stuff, but also not only that, he's not the engineering guy, but he's also the creative guy, right? He's the shredder from Singapore, right? But he plays for the Lord now. He shreds for the so he's all of these things, so plenty to talk about. So, and we'll dive into all of that. But Justin, welcome. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, family, and all that, and then we'll dive into all the little bits.
Sure, Conrad. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I just got to say, it's amazing that technology allows us to connect, even though you are halfway around the world. It's like really late at night for me right now. My kids are still not asleep. Yes, I'm a family man in Singapore. I'm happily married with 3 kids, eldest girl and pair of twins, and they're very close in age, so it feels like my house is perpetually like a daycare center for kids. So right now in the phase of being mostly a parent more than I am, everything else. So it really feels like what we're talking about, especially all the guitar tech stuff, is stuff that I wish I could converse with. This is probably going to be the most amount of adult conversation I've had in a while. But yes, I'm from Singapore. It's a tiny island that's at the bottom of the Malaysian peninsula. So if you imagine the banana that is Malaysia, Singapore is right at the very bottom of that. It's a really tiny dot. You can't see it unless you zoom in the map a couple of times. And I belong to a very weird class of Singaporeans. Chinese Singaporeans can speak Mandarin Chinese. I'm one of those who can't. I'm like 5% of the population who
Really?
Basically grew up Americanized. So you can hear it in my accent. It's the TV shows that I watched when I was a kid, the music that I listened to. So I grew up a lot on. I have an older sister who had all these punk rock or alt rock kind of sounds from the 90s, and so I grew up on a healthy dose of Gin Blossoms, Goo Goo Dolls.
Nice.
Rick Price was my absolute favorite album, and I knew at a young age that I wanted to be a musician. It was one of those things that I kept daydreaming about all the way from when I was in elementary school all the way up to even university. And of course, I picked up the guitar when I was 12. I didn't know I was going to be a guitar player. I just wanted to be I guess.
Hey, I'm Conrad from WorshipTeamAI, and I'm giving away a Helix floor with a gig bag that's loaded with presets, specifically Justin Chan's presets. And I think it has plenty of Bethel plus his own that you can plug in and play at any church for any genre, and you should be good to go. So if you want to win that, you can go to worshipteam.ai/Helix. This is December 2025, in case you're watching this 10 years from now. So the contest is open till Jan 5th, I think, 2026. WorshipTeam.ai is built for worship leaders. No more forms. If you want to build, it's built to save you time. You don't have to fill in a form. If you want to build a set list, you can just chat with Nova, the AI agent. It's like your intern. You just say, hey, Nova, build me a set list for this Sunday. What songs have you played in the past? You can get analytics. You can even get themes, right? Say, hey, Nova, we're thinking about the fatherhood of God. What songs have we played in that theme, or what songs exist in that theme? And just say, okay, fine. And say, it'll tell you like, here are these songs, right? And you'll say, okay, fine. Let's add song 1, 2, and 6 from this list into our set list. Add a prayer. And then you can say, Nova, who's available to play that Sunday? And Nova will find your teammates, and if they've updated the blackout schedule and their frequency, it'll say all of these players are available, and say, okay, great, let's add all of them. And if you think like, oops, we're missing a drummer because none of my drummers are available, you can ask Nova to say, hey Nova, is there a drummer is there a vetted Christian drummer in my zip code? Right? And Nova will go and find you if they are part of WorshipTeam.ai. Like I'm part of WorshipTeam.ai, and I'm my zip code is 30102. So if somebody's searching for a guitarist in a pinch, right, they can find me. And the way it vets it is I need to have a home church, and that's one big thing, right? And people can recommend me also. It's kind of like LinkedIn, right? So Nova is built for worship leaders. Save time just by chatting. You can get a set list done, at least the draft, in like 5 minutes, right? And then you can always use Nova to tweak. And Nova does not take away the heart of worship. It just does the grunt work, right? Worship leaders still pray about it, think about it, but when you're ready, you don't have to fill in a form. Just talk to Nova, and Nova will do the work for you. And remember, giving away a Helix. So just go to WorshipTeam.ai/Helix to get the Helix floor with the gig bag and Justin's presets, plus a whole lot of my presets as well. Thanks for watching. Continue.
I guess a rock singer or something. But what got me into guitar, and this is very contra worship guitar, it's not like the Lord shone a light on the guitar and said, no, you're going to play this. So I actually saw an ad in one of the community magazines, and it was an ad for guitar classes. And what I saw was this like guy with a classical guitar. I don't know what it was. He had sunglasses on, and there were two girls swooning in the corner of the picture. And that was like, I'm gonna be that guy. I want to get the girls. And that was my very unsanctified entry into guitar. Yeah. And what I very quickly realized was, well, I mean, I don't think it worked. I mean, my wife knows I play guitar. She appreciates that I play guitar, but it wasn't the primary reason why I got her. So anyone wants to. It didn't work for me, so just putting it out there for.
It's not a formula. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee. Yeah. I was proud of it, and because I got into guitar when I was 12, I was into this phase where I wanted to look cool in front of as many people as possible. So in front of the punk rock kids, I was like, yeah, Green Day and Blink-182 are the best. So I tried to learn all their songs. In front of the girls, I had to learn all these pop songs. So, Richard Marx, Bryan Adams, Backstreet Boys are the best. So I had to learn all those songs too. And so I was a chameleon and tried to soak in as much music as possible. And so by the time I got to university, I was playing pub gigs quite regularly, and I was doing top 40 covers. I was in a J-rock cover band. I was in a Dream Theater cover band as well, and that was the most technical band I was ever part of. I was on track to become like the next. I mean, I got really technical on guitar. Like I learned as much as I could. I pushed the envelope as much as I could. I was doing like, clean demi-semi-quavers at 200 BPM, that kind of like speed. But during my national service days, because in Singapore you got to serve national service. I got injured in the course of my army training, so my wrists got injured, and it was so bad that I lost all of my technique. And so there was a period of time where I felt you know how sometimes you feel like the Lord is pushing you in one direction, like yes, Lord, I want to be a guitar player, I'm going to be the best musician ever, and it just felt like the Lord took that away, and I had to face that very real question: who am I without the guitar? And that was a season of maybe 1 year of just recuperating, learning to play guitar again. And in the course of that, I discovered that I had a heart for musicians who wanted to serve in church but not quite sure how to go about doing it, and so that began that genesis of the YouTube channel, because as one person doing one-on-one lessons, that was going to take, my impact was going to be quite limited. So I did feel that as the channel developed, I felt a call from the Lord to turn that channel into something more like a resource for musicians to learn from. So that started the YouTube channel of wanting to focus on guitar technique, wanting to focus on gear reviews, gear reviews towards a church musician twist, and of course, Line 6 Helix, Line 6 Helix Stomp, and the Pod Go. Those were the devices that I think caused my channel to at least blow up to what it is now, and I guess I feel like I'm like the Line 6 evangelist sometimes with
do they have a deal with you in Singapore? They should reach out to you, because you are in that corner of in the world, right, where they should.
I am I am a Yamaha
Yamaha.
guitar ambassador. So
Yeah.
and as you all know, Line 6 is under
Yeah.
the Yamaha umbrella, and so I
Yeah.
do have some things in the works with I do get to work closely with Yamaha,
Nice.
and that's those doors only really open because of the YouTube channel, and I do have the Lord to really thank for that. So I think my calling has evolved from wanting to be the fastest gun in the West, and now wanting to support musicians as much as they can, because if the Lord could heal me and help me to play right now to where I am now, anyone who is watching my channel can play in church.
Yeah, because I've watched a couple of videos even before we connected, and so I was a subscriber and a viewer, and I've learned a lot. Like, I'm not a technical person. I mean, I know how to get my sound, but I sold my whole Strifector. I had all the Strymons, 3 big old Strymons, my matchless amp, and I would just plug in, turn knobs, get clean sound. I come from old school, metal background as well, and I don't have the patience or the time. I'm impatient. I have time to fiddle with. If something's not working, I'm not going into the settings and like all of that scrolling through. So which is why people like you who take the time, that's your passion, right? And I can learn in like 1 minute what you've dedicated almost a lifetime to, right? So thank you. By the way, I think I should plug, Justin does a patch. This is for the Helix, Podgo, which or some older version of the Helix with Hey Worship Leader. Both of them are, like, I would say, nerd out over the Helix and the settings, and I did not know there are settings in the Helix that existed that Justin and Hey Worship Leader dive into. And I was like, whoa, all these things exist. And that's how you craft beautiful sound. If you really want to go deeper than like surface level, right? That's a great video to watch. I think everybody's eyes will open up and realize that it's a complex pedal. What we turn some knobs and is just like 1% of the Helix that we are using. There's probably like so many things we don't know. But anyway, just wanted to shout out and really tell you, like, Justin's a super technical guy. When he says technical, no, he knows the spec. Like, Justin, what's on page 29 of the Helix spec? He can probably quote it like the Bible. No.
I mean, if you ask me a specification for what it does on the Helix, I could probably tell you, but no, let's not elevate the owner's manual to the level of scripture.
That's true. But yes, so yeah, you do a great job educating, and I think that's your calling. And I was just talking to Justin. He also happens to be preaching this Sunday, so he really does have a teacher's heart. He's a great teacher. So when did you start your channel? Which year was that?
I started the channel, actually, it's I am what you would call not a late bloomer, but one of those like underachievers. I started YouTube way back in 2007, I can't remember when exactly. Yeah, around 07, 08. That was when YouTube kind of started too, right? I mean, like, it was.
Yeah, I think so. Early, yeah.
Yeah, but but I think I missed the boat on like getting serious on it. I used it more like a repository of sorts. So my first few videos were just covers of songs that I enjoyed playing.
Yeah.
And it only I only really felt a call to be serious about it with under the Lord's direction in this would be post-COVID. So I think during COVID, so that 2019. That was when I felt 2018, 2019, that was when I felt the Lord move me in that direction of, hey, it's time for you to be serious about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. It sounds weird. Maybe if you had to tell this story like 20 years ago, yeah, I heard the Lord talking to me about being serious about my YouTube channel. It sounds kind of silly, but it's a thing, right? Yeah, right. It's a thing, and you had to be obedient. It might sound silly to some people. Yeah, sure, serious about you, but it has an impact, right? It has an impact. I guess you probably get a lot of people just interested in the Helix, but who get to be introduced to church or a worship song through you, so it definitely has an impact. You're not just reaching out to the church people, um, so, so what's your main rig like? And you are a worship leader at your church as well, right? Which church do you go to?
I'm in a medium-sized church called Ang Mo Kio Methodist Church in Singapore, and it's so-called because Ang Mo Kio is the neighborhood that it's situated in. So I am in the Methodist Church, and I did worship lead for a long time. I changed to become a music director a couple of years ago, but of course, the role of music director, of being the one to make the creative decisions with songs, that's always been a part of my musical DNA for a long time. So I have been like the unofficial MD in my church band for a very long time, and only in the last, I would say, 10 years that we started to be specifically demarcate the role of music director, or at least have two separate roles: worship leader, music director. And for a long time I was both, and then last 3 years I was and I was an MD.
Okay, so MD, right? For me, like that term gets thrown around a lot, and a lot of times MD is mostly a stage role, the person guiding you, whispering in your ears. But so what's the role? Like, if you were to write a job description for MD for your job, like what do you do? What encapsulates that?
The MD role has three aspects to it, and three aspects can be encapsulated with the acronym PRS, which is, all guitar players will love: preparation, rehearsal, and service. And under preparation, the MD is the one who works with the WL, worship leader, on the arrangement of the songs, like the creative flow from start of the session to the end of the session, that you're working out the arrangements, the transitions, the flow between the songs. And that's where you get to flex your creative muscles as to if the recording is a certain way, can we change that around to suit a certain mood or a certain fit a certain theme for the service. Then that's preparation, and that is 90% of the work. If the MD does that 90% well, the rest of it is quite easy. The R is rehearsal, and that is you're managing the Saturday rehearsal or the weekday rehearsal, or in some cases the Sunday morning rehearsal. And what you're really looking out for is to, once you work out the arrangement with the WL, you have to test that arrangement. So once you send out the resources, you resource your team as much as you can in preparation. Then in rehearsal, you play together and realize, oh dear, some of these things don't work, and so you gotta do what we call component repair. So you figure out, okay, acoustic guitar, maybe you don't play it, you don't strum that way, you strum it this way. Electric guitar, tone down the effects. They sound great on the recording, but live, it's too mushy. Let's scale it back. And so you make those decisions along the way in the rehearsal. And of course, service, that's the one that everyone knows most about. The MD is the guy with the microphone talking to the team, and you're coordinating not just the team, but you're also coordinating between the production side, like maybe at the stage, the back of the sound booth, where they're calling 5 more minutes before pastor goes on, or like or sometimes the pastor's doing something in the having a moment and wants the background music to build, and then you're there coordinating between the worship leader and the production elements at the back.
Yeah. And so is your church like super tracks heavy, or like all in on tracks, or just a click? How do you do it?
We're not all in on tracks. We are all in on manual MD. So a lot of it is just live MDing. The dabbling in tracks is very MD specific. So only those who have the technical know-how can do it. And in my church, it's me and one other guy. And for a while, we went through this whole extreme. Like with my team, because I record, I can record music in my home studio as well. So I end up recording my own tracks, and suddenly, like, you've got 4, 5, 6 guitar layers when you only see one guy playing guitar. And
Yep.
so we did go through this phase of like overdoing it. And then the WL and my worship leader and I discussing, maybe it's time to be more real, be less tracks heavy.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Yeah, yeah. I think what's the, if you don't mind me asking, what was the motivation to 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 experiment with tracks? It's mostly just because you could and you had a studio and it was just a creative idea. Because I talked to a lot of people, right? Some of that is, I think, the influence of just watching all the polished YouTube videos of worship that's on YouTube. Like Elevation puts out the best live YouTube videos, right? And churches try to recreate that took like thousands of dollars, right? And we try to create it. Was that the so it can be it's not, I would not say driven, I would say inspired by, right? Everything you can be inspired by a lot, right? And that's a great thing. But for you, because you have the capabilities, you probably, if you did not have to see any of these videos, it's like, hey, let's get creative a little bit, right? Was that just because you could and you just were getting creative a little bit?
One of the primary, the creative side was the secondary consideration. The primary consideration for me, at least, was I wanted my musicians to play the best that they can, and sometimes to coax them to get to play to play their best. Sometimes they, I don't know whether it's a thing in Western churches or in America, but here in Singapore, one of the key complaints, Singaporeans love to complain. One of the things about us is when let's say the team doesn't have a bass player or a drummer, the keyboardist might say, I'm just to give an example, I'm not saying all keyboardists say this, but sometimes someone might say, it feels very empty without the bass. I cannot play my best, or I cannot give my best because there's just so empty. And so there was a pastoral care angle in using tracks, because I could visibly see that my musicians who were on stage really play better and sound better, because they were more they felt inspired to play with the addition of at least the drums and the bass. There is a severe manpower issue, I guess, across the board. We don't have drums and bass for every single team. And so my team, because I was the tracks guy, known as the tracks guy, for a long time, I was programming my own drum tracks, programming my own bass tracks, and having, you got 3 people on stage, but it sounds like a 5-piece band.
Sure.
And it's so hilarious. The camera pans left and right on the stage, right? And then you see like the empty drum cage, but you hear drums. And so that was, it's very,
it's a miracle. I totally get it. That's totally valid. Earlier in my days, if I would have in-ears, but if the mix was not good, it might get out the EQ was horrible. I'm not inspired to play. I'll rip them off. I'd rather not hear myself, and I trust that I'm playing the right things. If it just sounds bad, you're not inspired, right? If what you're hearing and you're contributing to that, so anything you can do to let your band hear, like, hey, we are playing some quality music, and then it's inspiring, and then, okay, I can lead off with that line, if not, you're just thinking, oh, that's bad, that sounds, and I know it's difficult. Musicians in general, I was talking to another friend, even when you step into another church, right, you're not doing anything, you're just stepping in on a Sunday, you're traveling, you go to a new church, and as a musician, your first like 5 minutes is analyzing the sound, looking at the gear, right? There's so much of noise, right? You have to tone it down, and if you're playing on stage, you're also still dealing with that noise, and you have to tone it down and get rid of it slowly, and then you can focus on the worship. So it's part of the job, and whatever you can do to solve it, and if it works, great, right? So were you you were telling me I think, did you not do something technical? Were you like an engineer or something?
I have a background in my undergraduate studies. I did study chemical engineering, which I guess in layman's terms would be process engineering. And yes, it was the the way I got into that was my parents and I looked at my transcript in pre-university, and it was like, hey, your chemistry is good, your math is good, chemical engineering, and totally not knowing what it was, and so I survived 4 years of that, just finishing up that degree.
That answers a lot of questions about why is Justin so technical, right? Right? I mean, that's your makeup, right? That's your wiring, right? Clearly, I'm too distracted. I'm not wired. I'm not an engineer. I'm not wired that way, but thankful. So that answers a lot of questions. But some people are just wired that way. Like my son is wired that way. So I told he's doing civil engineering, right?
Mm.
He was good at math. He was good at all this stuff. Still works. He has a huge collection of Legos. So he knows. He probably watch a couple of videos and dive into the Helix, and it'll all make sense in his brain. I'm like, not for me. Just I'm happy with a delay and a overdrive. So when you're doing the MD stuff, right? Does it mean you're playing an instrument at that time, or it doesn't have to be even?
For the time being, yes, I am playing
Okay.
my guitar as well, and
Yeah.
and I'm MDing at the same time. And just to answer the previous question, because you also asked about my rig, what I use on
Yeah.
Sundays. It is now cycling between two rigs because I used to use exclusively the Line 6 Helix, and that was because as an MD, I used the MIDI capabilities of the Helix to control Ableton and the digital audio workstation that triggers tracks and all that. But since the big unit died, it's now quite defunct. I now have to use, I have a dual HX Storm board. I have a HX Storm and a HX Storm XL that I integrated into one small rig. But I'm having a lot of fun. Someone gave me a great deal on the Quad Cortex. So now I now have a new DSP Quad Cortex that
Nice.
I'm using that as for mostly everything except analog drives. So if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see this hybrid rig of a QC plus some analog drives. Yeah, and that's and the size of it is just because I want to be able to fit because you never know what's going to happen. And the ball is very round on a Sunday morning or doing rehearsal, so sometimes the sounds that you think work at home don't work live, and then the WL is like, can you bring another sound in? Like, okay, I gotta quickly tweak this. And much easier to tweak analog pedals than to flip open the cover and go deep dive into the menus.
Yeah, and that's the previous Helix, the Helix floor. It was I'll dial in my tones. I do spend some time, but take it to the stage and live, it just sounds so different. And then trying to mess with the settings is just so painful. But I'll tell you, the stadium, I don't even use the app on my Mac. It is so easy. Like I feel like I'm closer to Justin Chan now, because I can tap and get into the settings and tweak a whole lot easier with the touch screen. So doing some live changes at the venue is so much more easier on the stadium. Then sometimes I would consider taking my laptop with me in case I had to tweak it, so I could connect it and then tweak it on the Helix floor. But the stadium, super easy. So you use analog drives, and what kind of what's your favorite? What's your go-to drive if you could choose only one?
Wow.
Yeah. You can only choose one.
Desert Island pedal time right now. Okay, so the one I'm having the most fun. I have this is a pedal that's made locally in Singapore, so it's a local brand. Who does do shipping elsewhere, so I could probably plug that in. JNS, that's the name of the company, JNS Inventions, and they've got a pedal called the Exodus Drive. They're also Christian, so it's got they are a Christian company. The Exodus Drive has got two overdrives in it. It's a Blues Breaker style overdrive and a Proco Rat distortion.
Nice.
And
yeah,
and so you think that, wow, a Rat sounds like distortion in worship. I mean, a lot of you guys use the 1981 DRV.
Yeah.
So it's not a uncommon sound. Nigel Hendroff used the Expandora for a long time as well. But yeah, that's my favorite drive at the moment. I'm really trying to stop like going
That's all right. You chose
it
your favorite. Now you can mention the others, but I have to say your favorite is kind of cheating because it's two drives in one, but I'll accept it. It's a layered drive, but hey, yes. What else are you using?
I have a Jet Pedals Lamb, and I think that is one of the more versatile drives I've had. It's got 3 different clipping options, and each of those clipping options harkens to a certain style of overdrive. My favorite setting on the Jet Pedals Lamb is the clon style, and that's got this it's got this mid-range push that isn't muddy. I mean, insert all your favorite adjectives here, right? But it's like, for me, that the worship sound is in that Jack Pedal Slam, which I think I got it. Yeah, got it here. That's
it's nice.
That's the Lamb.
I love white pedals with gold on it. That looks nice.
Yeah, I can get even closer.
Yeah, dude, that's beautiful, man. Which pedal do you regret selling? Have you ever sold a pedal and regret it? You do. I know you do.
So many. You want the biggest regret? Like,
yeah,
okay,
tell me.
Okay, biggest regret. Okay, so this has been an oddball. I had an authentic 1970s deluxe electric Mistress. That's the Electro Harmonics flanger pedal, and it's one of those pedals that it was if you know the 70s and Electro Harmonics pedals, those were those very huge big format pedals.
Yeah.
It was clunky. It needed its own AC, like it needed its own transformer to work. But it had the warmest, most beautiful flanger sound I've ever had, and I've never been able to find a flanger close to that. I sold it off, and I've never been able to find a flanger sound close to that. The closest I ever found to it was the Strymon Deco. That's the only other pedal that I think has that warmth, the through zero sound, and I'm a weird guy.
Yeah. I mean, my pedal that I sold, I can get it back. It's a common pedal, but it was the Little Green Wonder Overdrive.
Oh, okay.
It was my go-to, man. It was almost like, I don't know, something special about that pedal. I just liked it. It was because it kind of made me play the things that I like to play. I loved the sound. It was like almost like a comfort sound. I plug it in. It's beautiful. It pairs well. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I don't know why I sold it. I honestly, I can't remember my saying. I'm like praising this pedal, everything good about it, but then I sold it. Like, and I don't remember why. So what kind of are you lugging? Are you a 3 guitar stand guy on Sunday morning?
I'm a 1 guitar guy.
Okay.
And but it depends. Sometimes like I found that for like the longer worship sessions, like I do play nights of worship with my parachurch band called The Encounter, and sometimes you got music that goes on for, it's like a whole night worth of music. So one song can be 20 minutes long, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I had situations where guitar fails on me, something breaks, the string breaks, and I just don't have time to restring or swap things out. It's just easier to bring 2 guitars on stage. Even though I would prefer to just 1 guitar, right now I'm settling into 2 guitars with a mono dual case, but that's only because the backup is in case something happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a single guitar guy. Mostly used for a long time. I was using the Line 6 Variax, and that was
Really?
Together with I have a JTV 59 that I would use in tandem with the Helix, and with the combined with the Helix, you can do so many things with it. You can change tunings, you can change guitar types, you can change acoustic electric with a press of a button.
Yeah.
And I was into that whole shebang for a very long time until the whole thing started like breaking down on me.
Yeah. And they don't sell it and make it anymore, right? I don't know.
They don't make it anymore.
Yeah.
They don't make it anymore. Yeah. And it's a ticking time bomb. If something breaks down on the Variax, there's no way to replace it now. So praying very hard, don't break down.
I always wanted one, man. I did not get into it because it's so flexible, especially if you're in the studio, you're making music, you don't, it's so easy. So what's if you were to build like a patch, you're traveling, you're at another church, and they say, hey, Justin, can you play this Sunday? Here's a blank Helix. Like, what's the quickest signal chain? And where are you placing your wet effects? Like if you had like 30 minutes to build something that's ready to go for a generic worship set, Like, how are you thinking? And yeah, talk me through your signal chain.
Actually this exact situation happened sort of. I was supposed to play for I was playing for a conference, and I had to rebuild a patch from scratch because when we set up we realized, oh, there's not enough inputs, not enough there's not enough channels on the mixer to accommodate the whole band, so I had to patch people into my helix as well.
Oof.
And so I had to build a new preset where I think I dedicated 2 lanes, one for the bass player, one for the electric guitar, the other electric guitar player. Then I just one signal path to myself. And of course, as you know, one signal path on helix, you can't really do a lot. And so it was just to get the bare essentials out of the way. Amp and cap, straight up. That's the I might even just go with the single amp and cap block just to save DSP. And I think I did do that because I had to save DSP to accommodate the other instruments on my helix.
Yeah.
So the single amp and cap block, that could be AC30, the Fawn A30, they call it, or the AC15. Those are my 2 go-to sounds. Have the depending on the guitar that I have the cut control way down to have all that brightness. Then at the cap section, and I can't remember if this is I can't remember if the settings are still relevant now, because it's been a while since I played the helix, but I think there's a low cut, high cut on the cap. And so mic placement is the mic choice, and the cap choice is quite as equally important as the amp choice. So while the amp has got a sound, really that's half the sound. The rest of it is in the cab and the mic. And with the cab and mic, I'll go with a 2x12. Or even the AC15's 1x12. I can't exactly remember right now. I hope I'm right. I think the AC15 is the 1x12. There's a 2x12 Silver Bell, which I think
so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite cab out there. I know its sound inside out. And I will pair that with the R121 mic. And instead of having the mic all the way straight at the cab, I pull it back 5 inches, and whether you want to angle it or not, it's up to you. But having it straight on 5 inches from the center of the cone, that's to me, that's my sound, because you don't get the bass build up, but you also get to capture some of the air around the cab. Of course, virtually, this is not an actual cab, right? Then that's the bulk of the tweaking. Once you get that sound down, you've got your basic delay. So I can have the simple delay is really quite good. Sometimes I just use that. I put a mono simple delay in front of the amp, 8th 50% mix for the dotted 8th sound, and I'll use a foot switch to toggle between 25% mix to 50% mix, just to change.
Nice.
Just to change the whether I need more delay or less delay. Then for overdrive, compression overdrive, if I have the space for it, compression, I'll use like the kinky comp. Yeah, I mean, excuse the language. I mean, this is a Christian, it's a Christian thing, but that's based off the SP compressor, the exotic SP compressor, and that is my favorite compressor of all time. Very importantly, the attack and release controls, you gotta move them from. They start out like this, extremes. So you gotta start moving them towards the center. Like attack at 2, release at 4, and the mix control, very important. That's the most important control on the compressor. Have it at 65%, 50%. You want to preserve the transients, the attack of your guitar, but you also want the compression to kick in and beef up your sound.
Are you compressor on all the time guy?
Yes, I am a compressor on all the time guy.
Yes, no shame in that. I love it. Some people scoff at that. I like, that's my sound. I like it. I like what I play.
It's a good foundation. It's just the how you build your foundation.
Yeah, but not when people think compression on all the time. They think like extreme settings, right? I think just enough, right? Yeah. So okay, extreme awesome. Squash. So compressor then.
Then once I get that sound down, I will. Then think of overdrives, and for me, it's the Tima, which is the Timi overdrive. That the treble control on that, I think it also mirrors a cut control. So the higher you go, the less treble you have. And so I'm not afraid to move that past 5. So, I've have it at 6 or 7 to roll off that high end, especially if I have a humbucker
Yeah.
guitar and it's bright,
Yeah.
then the gain can be anywhere between 6 to 9. I mean, and I'll use a foot switch to toggle between. So I'll have one foot switch to toggle the overdrive on or off, and I have another foot switch to toggle the drive setting between 6 and 9, so I can get a clean. So like clean is off, overdriven on, and then the other button for lead.
Yeah.
And that's 3 sounds.
Were you going like foot switch only because you were running 3 people through this, or you a snapshot guy, or you're just a foot switch guy in general?
I am that's a good question. I really cycle between, I've toggled between the 2 styles quite a lot. It also depends on the situation. I think there are times where if I want granular control of the sound, and I don't need to change, if I don't need to change the sound so drastically, foot switch mode, that's where I'm very comfortable with. If I need to, if you're not going to do like those modern worship songs where you have like, you know, the modulation for like the chorus, and then you need to switch back to like a clean sound. Of course, Snapshot is going to be your go-to.
Yeah. So do you, so at your church, is there a thing? Because I've used snapshots quite a bit, only because most of the churches that I played at were like, we played to the CD, we played to the recording. So snapshots. So so the way I have it set up is like probably like 100 songs, and every song it goes into snapshot mode, verse 1, intro, chorus, whatever, So do you as a creative person, and when other guitarists play, obviously there's a sound of the church and you don't stray too far off of that. Are you good with that? Or are you saying like, hey, we need to play this to the recording? So how do you approach that playing on Sunday? Do you match the recording, or generally as long as it stylistically fits in with the band, it doesn't feel like ketchup on ice cream, you're good to go? Right?
Ketchup on ice cream, that's a good analogy.
Like you're breaking out the wah pedal for Good Father. Right?
You gave me an idea, man. No, I'm kidding. I think I go with the pastoral route first. What helps my band members? What strengths do my band members bring to the table? What sounds do they have, and how do I does that do the things they play, does it lend naturally itself to the recording style or not? And if not, then I'm not gonna try and hammer in like you gotta play the CD. I will try to incorporate their stylistic differences and incorporate their quirks into like playing together. So at the same time, you do want to challenge people to play like the album, but in the sense that you follow the roadmap of the song. So I think following the roadmap of a song, like the CD, is fine. Whether or not your drive has to be 40%, it cannot be 45 or 35, and you must use a tube screamer and not your angry Charlie or whatever pedal you have on your pedal board.
Yeah.
And I've seen churches that do go down that strict with even pedal choices. Like the guitarist has to play a certain pedal on stage, or he's being rebellious. I mean, it's not explicitly said he's being rebellious, but I don't think that's a very pastoral way of doing things. Because your musicians are unique. They have their unique voices given by God, and I do want to honor that with them. That being said, I always find it a nice challenge to be able to play something that's out of their wheelhouse every now and then, just to give them a challenge. Otherwise, musicians get too laid back, too relaxed.
Absolutely. I think
so push the envelope just a little bit.
I think play. So. Yeah. I think in every profession, it's a little touchy if it's a creative profession, but in every profession, people need to be pushed a little bit. I'd bring out the best in them. You go to a studio and you record, and there's a producer who's, I have a friend who records. He has a studio. He's a producer. He takes on a lot of bands, and when I go sit down with him and I record, he'll look at me and say, "That's awesome. Let's do it again." That's his gentle way of saying, like, "Yeah, I know you were you were playing another song, judging by the click in you. But the way of nudging and pushing and encouraging, that's a skill, and I don't have that. I can't be a producer. But people who can do that, so he definitely pushed and nudged, and we got what was good at the end of the day. So, Justin, a couple of questions for you. How, if you were not MD, if you were MD or not, but take up the MD factor, but if you were playing on Sunday, right? And you got the set list on like Monday morning, I want to learn from you about your practice discipline. How do you practice? How do you prepare? I know you've been playing for a while, so it probably changes over time, if you've been playing the same songs, but if it's a new song, what's your practice discipline from getting the set list to showing up on Sunday morning as a guitarist?
I have possibly because I'm also very tech driven, so I use technology as much as possible to help me out. So what I mean by that is this: when the song list comes out, and the first question I ask is, and I lock it in like, hey guys, is this going to be the arrangement? Is this the specific recording and arrangement you want me to reference? And if that's a yes from the worship leader, my next question is, what's the key of the song that you guys are doing it in? Because some worship leaders, they just give the reference link, but they don't tell you what the key is going to be in. And so whether or not I'm an MD, one of the questions I asked in the group chat, and I think I'm quite annoying with my team members this way, is, what key are we playing the song in? Singers, is this too high, too low for you? And once you lock in the key, I use Audacity I try to record the song, as in like, get a recording of the song, like an MP3 file or something, and then I change the key of the song using Audacity or all these digital tools to transpose a song to the proper key. So that way my ears get locked in as to how the song is supposed to sound. Now that could mean that the riff is an octave too low or an octave too high, and that's up to you then to isolate. All right, where on the neck am I going to play this to make it sound okay? And that could also mean that the part that was crafted in the original recording, you may not be able to play it that way anymore. You might have to modify the part, or at least play. You might be able to get the spirit of the part right. Maybe not the exact notes, but the spirit of the part, you can try and get that right. So transposing the song to its the performance key. I mean, performance, you know what I mean? Performance key is, I think that to me is critical. So you avoid the surprises on the rehearsal day, like, you can't sing this key. And then you change, you transpose, and like, oh gosh, this does not work. And so all that prep work has to be done beforehand. That's what I do. And then, and this is the additional step that I think most people will probably won't do because they're not as nerdy as me, but Logic, the digital audio workstation, has this stem splitter function right now. So you can take a song and then you can split it apart into, I think it's got drums, bass, and everything. Drums, bass, vocals, everything else. And that's important to me because I want to hear the drums and bass layer as to what's going on. Lead guitar nowadays is just one phantom part in the background somewhere. And if I'm the only guitar player in a band, I gotta play rhythm, right? So I gotta hear what the bass and drums is playing, and I'm going to assume that my drummer and bass player is gonna play like that, and then I'm gonna fit in with, like, I'm gonna find a rhythm part or some way to play that complements that the drum and bass layer, and then I'll add in the vocal layer to see if my part clashes with the vocals. And of course, this is all very inventive. If the song has a distinct lead line and a distinct lead parts that you don't have to you just need to copy and rinse and repeat, copy and paste from the recording. But I find that I'm finding that more recently with songs, especially right now in modern guitar, where it's just some phantom noise in the background, I have to invent parts and play parts.
Yeah.
And so that's it's quite time consuming. And I'm blessed to be in a position where I've got a little bit more of that kind of time. I mean, if I had that kind of time, I'll probably do it. I'll probably do it. I'll probably do it live, not live, but on my computer and all that. If I'm really tight for time, no time to use any software or that, I'm doing it in my head. I'm making notes down on the paper, as to what I think can be done. So you got the super long answer of like, yes,
Yeah.
let's use technology and split
Yeah.
the parts and try and sometimes I might even record a scratch track of myself playing and seeing if that works in the with the song. But that's when I really a lot of time. If I don't have time, it's
Yeah.
all in my head and like, okay, I hope this works.
Yeah, but I think the takeaway is not even the time. I think your approach and your dedication to split it apart, right? You can, even if you have like 30 minutes, you are intentionally, and you're taking notes, and you're intentionally diving into the details, and you're trying to get creative. You're thinking like a producer, which is really which is like one of my best friends is like the producer guy I was talking about, right? And he taught us all this principle of self-producing, you know, even when you're at home, and then when you're playing with the worship team, self-produce. Should I be playing this part right now? Should I not play at all? So everything is intentional. You're thinking about it, you're tweaking it, and you are taking it to the next level by creating by splitting and all that stuff, because you're kind of creating a song pretty much. You are almost like, hey Justin, can you come record with us? And there's not, the effort that you put into practicing a song is not any less than the guy who actually recorded that song, right? The creative process, which is, I think, more fun. It doesn't sound like I do. My practice is pretty intense as well, but I have fun doing it. It is fun coming up with parts, right? It's and yeah, play the hook if it has a hook. Play the hook. If you're playing Sweet Child of Mine, you're not going to play your own part, right? You don't play that intro, you're going to get a tomato on your face. So play that.
Yeah.
But then come up with some interesting parts. Make it your own, because I think then you're just going to play with a little bit more confidence and fun. And I think that you're communicating your own heart of worship, and people are going to latch on to that, as opposed to just playing to the CD. So I like the dedication, man. That that is not a common trait. That's awesome. So how do you communicate how does the set list go out to you? Do you use like an app like Planning Center, or is it all WhatsApp? And the first thing I was writing down that you said was key, right? Your communication, right? I don't think a lot of teams communicate even from the set list to Sunday morning. Hey, I'm John. I'm playing guitar for you today. Right? So communication is key. But how do you guys manage your set lists and your communication?
Yeah, so we have let's start from the top. At the leadership level, and I'm not. Let me just clarify. I'm not part of leadership, but at the leadership level, they do hold the periodic meetings to lock into place what the set list is going to be in rotation for the season. And so there is a set list of 20 to 30 songs. That includes anything from hymns all the way out to the latest Brandon Lake song. And once that set list and information is available for everybody, so we are all encouraged to listen to those songs and to worship with those songs, so that when it's time to learn the song, it's not totally unfamiliar. That's at the leadership level. Once that set list is communicated, and once you know the songs are in rotation, the worship leaders will pick a song. Will pick their songs from there. Then and we don't have a dedicated app like Planning Center to help us. We are we are quite manual in that sense. I and a bunch of other music directors and the music nerds in our church, we came up with this repository on Google Drive. So there's this Google Drive that everyone in the ministry has access to, where if we write an arrangement, we put it into the drive, and so everybody has access to the arrangement. Sometimes you might find, 10,000 Reasons by Matt Reedman, or 10,000 Reasons by Decatinas,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So, yeah, Google Drive is one way, and of course, the week-to-week communication is WhatsApp, and whether or not we haven't had the situation where we wish everything was consolidated into one app yet, and because WhatsApp is quite ubiquitous among Singaporeans, and so, and it also helps that we all have teams. We're all divided into teams that stay with each other for we thought we would do 1 year rotations with teams. It's now ended up being 2 years in rotation with the same team.
Yeah.
And so you really grow with one another. You're in the same chat group. You pray with one another. You send prayer requests. You send memes. You communicate throughout the week. All that building community, and it's a mini community within the ministry.
Yeah, band development. I talk about band development a lot within the church. So having that band, because a lot of church musicians haven't played in bands, especially kids coming up. They go to church and they just join the church band, and that's the intro to being in a band, which is not, well as plugging into an amp with your friends in high school and forming a band and playing shows. That's a band, but band development kind of church lacks in that a little bit. So I think that's great, having them all play together. So Justin, 2 more questions for you. One's a fun one, but I'll save that for the end. This one is very, very how is AI does AI play any role at all in the worship? Not maybe in your life, but as far as like the church and worship, any tools, or is there conversations? Anybody talking about something, a tool that you should use, or is AI not part of the conversation at all?
I think honestly, AI is not a part of the conversation at all, other than you might have worship leaders who sheepishly admit that they use ChatGPT to plan the worship flow. They might prompt the AI to help me to find a link between these 3 songs, and sometimes depending on which GPT you use, they might become airy-fairy or sometimes too esoteric. I don't know where they draw those resources from, but it's not. The AI usage has been quite minimal, I would say. Other than sometimes when we stumble across these AI music covers that sort of recontextualize a song in a different genre. So sometimes you might find these AI covers of a dance version of a disco funk version of a worship song, or like What a Beautiful Name, but reimagined as a metal song. And sometimes you can find some of these things floating around TikTok and Instagram. But those are just sources for inspiration. And it's but it's not like we definitively use AI tools at our disposal. I suppose Logic's stem splitter is an AI tool. Something that I would use. But that's really about it. We are definitely not at the forefront of technology. I like to joke that whatever is happening in the United States takes about 10 to 15 years for Singapore and for Singapore to catch up, and then another 10, 15 years for the rest of Southeast Asia to catch up.
Yeah. So sorry, I lied. I have 2 questions for you. One is, I think I'm really interested in like what songs are resonating in your church right now. What's going on? What is what songs are resonating, and that will help us understand like what's going on in your little church in your corner of the world in Singapore. What's the Lord doing, right? What are people responding to? What are some of the songs that people are responding to, and you think like people are really connecting through these tools and these vessels?
That's a good question. Because our church is quite a mix of people, but as and when I unplug my IEMs to listen to what the congregation is singing, I do find that um, the, because my church is made up of it's a quite eclectic mix. You got people in the senior generation and those from my age or below. But across the board, if you sing a hymn, it's quite likely that people sing louder. So we're finding that the great Wesleyan hymns I think the expression in my worship ministry is you can't go wrong with a hymn. And so pick any hymn from Fanny Crosby to Isaac Watts to Charles Wesley. The volume does go up when we sing those songs or sing those hymns. But that's just at the same time when we sing Brendan Lake songs, we've sung songs like praise, like that dancey song. It's amazing to see people in their 50s and 60s singing along to praise, and they do sing along to praise. That's one that's a unique thing that I've seen. But if you really want to capture, and I think I'm speaking a bit more generally with Singaporeans. If you want to capture, get people to sing louder, it's always safe to do a Christine and Keith Getty song. So, Speak, O Lord, By Faith, what are the other Getty songs? In Christ Alone. Songs that have a very strong very strong theological vocabulary. For some reason, we seem to like wordy songs or like songs that got intellectual weight behind it. That's one of the ways to capture, and this is even in youth ministry. So what I found interesting about my youth ministry, I can't say for other churches, but in my youth ministry, the song selection is quite, I would say, old. I would have thought they were like Planet Shakers or what's the latest thing now, Elevation Rhythm, but they like songs from Geddy, and
that's fascinating.
Yeah, so I think there is I'm not sure whether there's a move towards these songs because they feel that the culture of the day is theologically shallow and they're hungry for something deeper. And that's why these songs that are a bit weightier win at the end of the day.
So. Yeah. Nothing wrong with the dancey songs, but that's the sizzle. At the end of the day, you need some steak to go with that sizzle.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. It's good to know what's resonating with the church on the other side of the world and what people are singing to. So here's a fun one, Justin. So tell me your biggest worship fail, if you've even had one.
Worship fail. Oh my goodness. Which one shall I share? Wow. Worship fail. Worship fail. What kind of category of fail do you want?
The more embarrassing, the better. Ones where your friends constantly say, Justin, you remember when that happened?
Okay, so I can't this I wasn't okay, so this is where I guess being, because this happened when I was in youth ministry, and this is super long time ago, but there was okay, I'll share two things. I'll give you a free one. One,
you've been doing that for a while. I noticed with the overdrive, and then your favorite guitar you chose the Variax, which is like 100 guitars. So why not stay on theme and give us a freebie? Yes,
2 in 1, right? 2 in 1. No, okay. I of course I'm trying to recollect this right at this moment, so my memory might be a bit hazy. Okay, so I can tell you one that I was directly involved in, and I can tell you that one I was a part of the room when it happened, and I think that was one of those incidents where you know how you go into collective shock, and then like everyone, like, just, it was so shocking that everyone just sort of like doesn't remember it until you like talk about it. We were leading the song "I Exalt Thee." I think that's the hymn. And for some reason oh no, I surrender all. Sorry. The hymn was "I Surrender All," and for some reason there's one of those songs where it starts out like this, and then the "I surrender all." It's like there's a very big octave jump, and we started at a key that was just too. We started at a key that was high for us, and therefore, when we reached that chorus, I could feel it like, okay, I'm gonna start singing in the frequency of whales, and like it's gonna be too high pitched for me, and I led the congregation to this whole. Of course, this is youth camp, right? So I think it's youth camp. So I led the whole youth camp to this whole like banshee squeaking moment. At the same camp, I think it was the same camp. I can't remember, but another worship leader did the exact same thing, but with a different song. Remember the song "Blessed" by Hillsong?
By name, at least.
Okay, so "Blessed," go back and you guys can go back and check it out on YouTube. But the song starts out in one key, and then it modulates to another key for the verse and chorus. Now, if you stay in the original key, it's quite high, and then you sing, and the chorus jumps up to that super high pitch, and again, and I remember being in the room, and we were all again we're gonna be banshees a second time. How often are we going to scream the house down? And there was no stopping it. Like we couldn't change the key. Like it was one of those train wrecks you saw was going to happen.
Yeah, that's the worst. You know it's coming. Oh my God, I'm so like, I feel bad for you just imagining that. Oh, that's so horrible. Well, Justin, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's probably super late at Singapore, but you're a night owl anyway. I love getting to know you a little bit more, and just learning about your discipline. I think that should be inspiring for anybody, not just guitarists, anybody wanting to practice and be part of a worship team. Just because you're a volunteer doesn't mean you slack off. You dedicate. You put in some time. You dedicate. You practice and self-produce and learn some parts so you come prepared, and it's going to be more fun. It's not that perfection. It's not a drive. It's not to drive perfection. It's not to drive anything else. It's just you're going to worship better, and it's going to be more fun. So Justin, thank you so much, man. Have a good one.
Thank you, Conrad. And if I just made a one last remark, all that hard work, if you think it's too much hard work, it's just one time. You put in the work for that one time, and then when the song comes again, because of because the worship leader is going to choose a song again in like maybe a couple of weeks down the road, 1 month down the road, you fully put in the work. So just work one time and then refine the next time round. And so that's my parting words to you guys.
Absolutely. Wise words.
Thank you for having me on, Conrad.
You bet. Thanks, Justin.